MMO RPGs, Maple Story, RuneScape, Final Fantasy, Elder Scrolls, Black Desert, Dragon Oath, Rucoy, bitheros, whatever console, whatever device, MMO RPG. This is what we wanted when we asked for a monumental, epic MMORPG to play. We wanted something expansive, something new, like the full dive experience in Sword Art Online, or many of these isekai. But sadly, real life sucks, and when you expect greatness, this is what you get instead.
Dude, I know, we need this. This is like, oh, what? Oh, God, no, don't say, what am I supposed to do? Do I dance?
MMORPGs. Sorry if you clicked on this video for Apex. This is not an Apex video, but you can stick around and still watch. Over the years, isekai, a genre of being transferred to another world, brought about the idea of being transferred into a video game world. And I think that that's something that I would like to explore today, because in real life, we seek escape via entertainment, and one of those ways of being entertained is playing. Everyone has a different genre of game that they like to play, but it still holds true that in order to be entertained, we have a play circuit because we're mammals. Some shit like that. Ask Jordan Peterson or some neurologist or some shit. I'm more fond of FPS shooters, but I do enjoy grinding it out in an MMORPG. But over the past couple of years, I've found it hard to identify with any of them. Most MMORPGs have crafting, hunting, fishing, PvP, PvE, which is the raids, world boss, that type of stuff, player versus everyone. These are basics to MMORPGs, and most would have two, if not all of these aspects included. At the bare minimum, your MMORPG has the aspect of a massive multiplayer online experience. It's in the name. The concept of gaining experience, whether that be completing quests to gain experience, killing monsters, or even completing levels or completing dungeons. Now, why is it that MMORPGs aren't doing too well these days? Or just what makes me think that the genre hasn't done anything monumental or new in a long time? It seems as if everyone is sticking to the same tropes instead of doing something original. And it's crazy. It's almost like developers don't watch isekai, because those types of anime provide tons and tons of new ideas and new pieces to the MMORPG experience. Every single season that anime comes out, there's always some type of isekai that's brought something new to the table. Not always, but the vast majority of the time. The surface problem seems to be that they can provide the MMORPG experience as we know it, but they just aren't adding anything new. They can add pieces, but they just don't have the whole picture. It's like if I'm installing your toilet and I just put in the toilet bowl and the base, but I don't give you any plumbing. You need the plumbing still. You can't flush your toilet. You need the plumbing. Personally, I like what New World has done. I saw Tim the Tatman, he was trying to buy a town. That reminds me of Log Horizon. And I've always wanted an MMORPG where the market or the economy is actually run by the players and the prices for things aren't set by the developers or intended to be in a specific way. There's one MMORPG called Rucoy Online, and it's done a great job. It's been around for a while. The one thing that's wrong with it is that it's lack. You see, Rucoy has infinite levels. It has the stat system that you want. You can be a tiny OP with a low base and have 200 melee and kill a level 100 at level 20. It's epic. It's open world. You can go as far as you want. No level restrictions except for on weapons and armor. But you can bypass that by training your stats. In Rukoi, there are two towns. One town is the starter town. It's the first place you meet once you leave the starter area where rats are. And they range from level 1 to level 3. None of that matters. What I'm trying to say is that the market, it's preset in a sense because sure, there's items for sale, there's potions for sale, and they're sold by NPCs. But Rukoi has something very cool, and it's a economy that's run by the players. So if I go to South America, there's a market. If I go to Japan, there's a market. There's a market for pretty much anything. You can sell your own potions, but why would you do that? You'd have to sell them for cheaper than the NPC. You can sell items that are rare drops. So basically, the player base is setting the prices, and diamonds are one thing that's always fluctuating. Next year, diamonds could be worth 20k a piece, and this year they could be worth 10k a piece. If anything, it's just nice to see that the players actually can run the economy. The part that's lacking is that in Rukoi, you can't buy plots of land. So I guess you're just sitting on top of a bunch of money. This is what I was getting at by trying to say that they provide a piece of the experience and they can add something new, but they just leave it lackluster. The sad thing about Rukoi is it hasn't been updated in a while with any new content. And the even sadder thing is the developers don't seem to have any intention of listening to the player base and adding quests. So it's a lost cause for me. That doesn't necessarily mean that games of the future have to be so bad. So I'm hoping that maybe some developer will see this video and he'll make sure to include all of the aspects of an MMO RPG and add something new so that we can experience something great instead of another lackluster title that we thought was going to be the new big thing. We've been leveling up for like 30 years now, and we've been dungeon crawling for about the same amount of time. To me, it's just we need to experience something new, and there's so many great ideas to incorporate that would change the MMO RPG genre forever, and it seems as if they're being overlooked. So let me point some things out. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I prefer not to be dragged along NPCs in games to solve those simple puzzles or to fight groups of bandits or be forced to craft something just for the sake of going through a tutorial. Well, how many tutorials will I need before I understand the concept of an MMORPG? I don't want to kill 10 slimes every day for eternity because that's the only quest on the quest board. It's hard to say what needs to stay and what needs to go, so I'll just say what needs to be included. Here is my template for a great MMORPG. For starters, leveling from crafting, fishing, PvP, PvE, you need to gain experience. That's an extremely basic. The next is open world. I don't want to be bound to a quest line. I want to log in, meet up with my friends, and go adventure or do whatever I want to do with them. Whether that be banding together and PKing noobs or trying to defend ourselves from a guild attacking. PvP needs to be open for anyone. It shouldn't be locked specifically to a party consent duel system. By that I mean a duel in town is brought about by a duel challenge in some RPGs, and if it's accepted by one party, then it's accepted by the other party. By all means, you can include a system like that for friendly battles, but there has to be an area where PvP is allowed, or PKing, and not just one spot for that. A tournament or coliseum is a cool idea for PvP, but PKing is an aspect that has to be included. There needs to be a way to buy weapons, yet simultaneously craft weapons based on the materials that you find, and then sell the weapons that you can craft. Honestly, not just the weapons you can craft, you should be able to sell weapons that drop. Weapons also need to drop from fighting in player versus everyone events. Next, there needs to be skill points and stat points. Stat points will obviously decide who is stronger, but amongst those of the same stat range, skill points would decide how interactions work, whether that be on a team or against the player. Skill points would create things like classes, but those would be not set in a traditional manner like warrior, rogue, berserk, mage, wizard, or archer, terms we use for these classes. Those traditional classes wouldn't really be a thing, because instead we would have classes
to try and get a full inventory of lamps ready at the start of this.
You'd think that the guardians that roam these lands and protect the sacred sites of the...
Dude, I know, we need this. This is like, oh what? Oh god, no, don't say, what am I supposed to do? Do I dance?
Of Skyrim. They've joked about this for a long time, but no one seriously believed they'd have the gall to do it again. After the Standard Edition, the Legendary Edition, the Special Edition, the Switch